Welcome back. This morning we have been looking at the medical services aboard cruise ships. Earlier we detailed the death of Richard Puchalski. A Miami jury awarded the family $3.4 million in their lawsuit against Royal Caribbean. In a moment we'll look at another tragic case, this one aboard a Carnival vessel. Todd Michaels with the Haggard law firm has had several cases against cruise lines.
Despite all the lip service and everything else, large corporations tend to be controlled by their bottom line. And from the beginning of time until 2014, cruise ships could not be held responsible for the negligence of their doctors. So they had no financial incentive to hire competent doctors to put people's safety first.
So what happened in 2014? In a landmark case, the U.S. Court of Appeals threw out the protection that cruise lines had long enjoyed. It's known as the Franza decision, and it stems from a lawsuit against Royal Caribbean, in which a passenger suffered a severe head injury, and the doctor on the ship didn't bother to examine him. The man then died. His daughter, Patricia Franza, sued Royal Caribbean, but the federal judge in Miami threw out the suit, saying cruise companies can't be held liable for the negligence of its doctors, no matter how incompetent those doctors may be. Well, the appeals court decided that wasn't right. We see no reason to follow an outdated rule that serves no useful purpose in modern maritime law. More lawsuits followed. In 2020, the parents of a 9-month-old baby sued Royal Caribbean after their daughter had to have part of her arm amputated because the medical staff aboard the Symphony of the Seas allegedly refused to properly diagnose an infection and evacuate the child to a hospital where she could be treated. In 2019, Norwegian Cruise Lines settled a case after one of its doctors prescribed the wrong medication to a 13-year-old child that left her in debilitating pain. The details of that case have now been sealed. Cruise lines routinely hide information from the public, as well as their passengers, and what they do release is often misleading. Listen to this exchange I had with Professor Ross Klein, who has studied cruise ships for 20 years and written several books on them.
The cruise industry has done a lot of work creating public relations documents. They've worked with organizations to create standards so the cruise line can say that we meet or exceed all standards. But those standards are not legislated. They're not regulations that are agreed upon by governments or international forums. I mean, the cruise industry didn't include rape kits on their cruise ships until they were forced to do it by legislation in 2010. I mean, they don't do these things voluntarily. Medical care is there in part because they've got to have something in order to comply with international regulations, which doesn't specify what they actually need. And the other part, it's there to make money. It's a revenue stream.
Is there anybody who is gathering any type of information that I, as a consumer, may be able to log on to and see this cruise line has had X number of medical malpractice cases or judgments against them? Or I can look up, for instance, what are or who are the medical personnel aboard a particular ship? Where are they licensed? Where were they trained? Is there any ability that I have to be able to look up that information as a potential passenger?
There's no transparency with regard to any of the information in terms of who are the physicians on board the ships, what is the history with regard to malpractice or passenger complaints, or even where the physicians are trained or registered from.
When Ron and Christine Radowski booked a cruise ship on the Carnival Vista in 2019 departing from Texas, they just assumed the medical staff would include experienced U.S. licensed physicians.
We left port on Sunday, had a great time Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Wednesday, probably afternoon, Ron started not feeling too well. We were at the beach in, Roatan, Honduras. Called the medical center Thursday morning, asked if I could bring him right in, right when they opened. And they said, yes, bring him right down. Got him down. And he was very sick, had been coughing up blood, coughing. just having a really rough time, couldn't concentrate, got in to see the doctor, and the doctor didn't even examine him, just took one look at him, and, started pulling up some information on acid reflux and all kinds of things. And I kept saying to the doctor, please examine him, please look at him. He's really ill. He's really sick. I just couldn't imagine the doctor not taking the time to examine Ron well. Asked about his symptoms, said, took one look at Ron. Oh, he's got acid reflux. He's a big guy. And, he might have a common cold. Go back to your cabin and rest. He'll be fine.
The doctor was a 27-year-old Colombian who had recently graduated medical school in his home country.
He just seemed to be declining. He wasn't getting any better whatsoever. Finally, come Sunday, it was time to get off the ship.
Christine said she wanted to get him off the ship as quickly as possible and loaded Ron onto a wheelchair.
Her father managed to push me off, his 89-year-old father, as fast as he could. And we had to really cut through because I was getting really ill. I was really ill.
They didn't want to let us disembark right away. And I pleaded and pleaded and pleaded with them. Please let us off the ship. We've got to get him to the hospital. Got off the ship, went directly to the emergency room. They took him into the emergency room immediately in. The doctors started working on him. He was in full respiratory arrest when we got to the hospital. And he was placed immediately in the ICU. That was Sunday night. By Monday, they could not keep his oxygen level up. And I was told that he would not make it through the night Monday night unless he was transferred to another hospital and put on the ECMO pump. He was put on a full ventilator to do his breathing for him. And a priest came and gave him his last rites. And I was told to say my last words to him because I may not see him alive again. And it just all happened that fast. Ron spent, almost 3 weeks in a coma on a full ventilator and on the ECMO pump.
Just the 3 months in the hospital at rehab, learning how to walk, learning how to use my hands, learning how to brush my teeth.
Notice as we speak, Ron keeps shifting in his chair.
Once in a while, I get these spikes in my legs that I got to move them.
What was that like for you to have to go through all that?
It just changed our lives catastrophically. It was took a lot of time. It cut 10 years off of my career because I can't walk like I used to. My lung capacity ain't what it used to be. I miss the guys. I miss work a lot. That was my career. It's hard for me to walk. I can't never walk barefoot again. My feet are so sensitive. I still do rehab at the gym and the swimming pool. I cannot go on treadmills because my feet are numb. They'll be numb for life.
He's in extreme pain when he gets out of bed in the morning.
And my understanding was you had to sell your house because you had a 2-story home and you were having trouble navigating the stairwells.
I had fallen down the stairs a couple times from my feet giving out, my legs giving out. I never know when that's going to happen. The pain I get when I'm sleeping is very intense.
Are you angry, Ron?
No, I keep my spirits up.
It's hard. It's really hard.
When I think to this and go through this, I get very emotional. Angry at who, I don't know. I am very thankful that I still have my life. Am I angry that what happened and it could have been, it shouldn't have happened? It didn't have to happen. Yeah, I'm angry at that. I'm not angry at nobody. I just don't want no one else to go through this. I would be angry if I seen a lot of people go through this. It's just not fair to anybody.
You know, Jim, it was really hard. I sat there for 3 weeks and all I could do was hold Ron's hand and pray. That was all I could do. And none of it was necessary for us to have to go through any of that. We trusted that we were going to get the medical care that Ron needed when he needed it, and he didn't receive it. To go through what we went through, you know.
Did you get bills for the medical care that he received? Did you get subsequent bills for that?
Yes. Oh, yes. I had to pay those before we got off the ship.
Yeah.
That was added onto our account.
Yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
You both have spoken about how you don't want to see something like this happen to anyone else. Obviously, you have your own claim for what this has done to your family and the expenses and the financial burden that you're now going to face going forward. But it's more than just dollars and cents for you. Is that a fair statement?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Yeah, I think when you go on, like they said, when you go on vacation and you have your family, the first thing you do is you don't look at how the medical help is going to be. You would kind of assume, I would imagine, that the price you pay for like a big cruise line, and it's all taken care of, and you're going to get the right help you need if there's an issue with anything in health. But
I don't think people are aware of.
I don't think they're aware of really what's out there and what's going on with that, and it's a shame because, like they said, you're putting your life, your family's life, in their hands at risk.
Mm-hmm.
You're counting on them to help you if something goes wrong, and it's not fair.
And they're not qualified to.
And you're right. That's what makes me mad about it. You're right. I'm angry about something like that. I'm not angry about what happened to me. It happened to me, but it makes me angry
that it could happen.
That
to
it could
someone
happen to
else.
someone else or
Yes.
someone's kid or someone's family, and it doesn't have to.
It shouldn't.
There should be better care.
The Radowskis have filed a lawsuit against Carnival in federal court here in Miami. Just as we did with Royal Caribbean, we asked Carnival to provide someone to discuss the Radowski case. They said they don't comment on pending lawsuits. We then asked if they would be willing to provide someone to speak more generally about the quality of care they provide on their cruise ships. Unfortunately, they refused. If Carnival or Royal Caribbean change their minds, they are more than welcome to come back on this show. We'll be right back. Thanks for joining us. I'm Jim Defede. Stay safe and enjoy the rest of your Sunday.